In Lesson 2, we went over the pros of working in production in the animation industry, and so today I want to discuss the cons. There are two reasons I want to go over this. First of all, for those of you who aren't in production yet, or for those of you who are just starting out, I want to be honest and give a balanced perspective. Like any other job, production is not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. The second reason is that for production and animation in particular, we often are the messengers or otherwise have a role in carrying out the downsides of this industry, so it's best to be familiar with them. The first con of working in the animation industry is that it's volatile. While the animation industry has grown exponentially in Vancouver, it's still pretty up and down. A lot can change in the blink of an eye. Projects that can seem stable can halt production at any time. I haven't even been in this industry for a decade, and still, in this short while, I have personally experienced and been part of one of those mass layoffs that the animation industry is rather infamous for. More junior production staff, like coordinators and PMs, are often the first to go in such scenarios. The second con of being in production is the overtime. How OT affects production very much depends on what studio you work for and what type of project you're working on. In production, we might not be the ones making the footage, but we are the ones responsible for shipping the show. That means we are the last ones at the door. If we mismanage things or circumstances evolve to a place beyond our control, we are also the ones responsible for enforcing and laying out the guidelines for participating in OT. Remember, production is very often compensated for OT, if at all, in different ways from our artists. This is critical to remember as it is our job to deliver the show. How overtime affects you in your current role is best discussed after reviewing your contract and then discussing with your producer or your HR team. Another downside of being in production is the short contracts. In Vancouver, the animation industry is based on contract work, and that definitely includes production. In my experience, my contracts average about 8 months apiece. Finding permanent positions in production is very rare and unlikely to happen before you're at the producer level at any rate. I would say it's normal to have a contract anywhere between 3 and 12 months, regardless of your position in production. It's very normal to work at a studio for, say, a year and a half and sign 3 different contracts or extensions in that time. The last con I wanted to discuss in this video is a high turnover rate. Connected to our previous con, shorter contracts can sometimes mean a higher turnover rate on your crew. This results in more training time, a longer period of getting the crew ramped up, and sometimes even poor morale. Now, most studios want to keep their talent in the building, so they will work to ensure that you have something else lined up as your current contract end date nears. That being said, artists in production alike get nervous and tend to jump ship if they're not confident that something else is lined up. If you're on the production team, the best way you can avoid panic on your crew is through communication. If you're a coordinator or a PM, mention to your producer that the crew is getting antsy. If you're a PM or producer, work with your HR and finance departments to see what kind of information you can give to your crew to alleviate their concerns.